Hi, this is Karen C. from Trails Regional Library, and this is my first instructional video on how to make pretty birthday cards. We're going to do Christmas cards and Easter cards and all kinds of things, but today I thought I'd start with something very simple, and that we're going to make a very pretty birthday card. I got this idea from the Card Making Magazine, and they initially had made these into Christmas cards. And what I did was I just decided to change it up and make them birthday cards. These are a couple of versions of what we have done, what I've done already. This is what they showed is a Merry Christmas. And I love this because I make a lot of Christmas cards, and I needed something that was simple because I was getting really bogged down into the details of Christmas card making. So this is very simple. They can be very elegant, and I can get this done in no time as opposed to slogging through months of making Christmas cards. So I took this idea and decided to make it a birthday card. These are the two versions, like I said, and today we're going to do another version so I can show you how it's put together. One of the beauties of making birthday cards, or any card, is that you can see an idea and then take it and run with it. I will sometimes be able to tell you what kind of paper I use, but most of the time I have no clue. I buy what I like and I don't look at the brand. And so I know a lot of people out there in YouTube land will tell you specifically what they are using. We're not going to do that here, mainly because I want people to be creative and to work with what they have and use what they like, and try not to make it exactly like everybody else's. If you want to do that, you can go to the card store and buy them. But for the most part, you want to put your stamp on your creation. So, and you can tailor it to the person that you're sending it to. So that's what we're going to do. That's what I'm about. And hopefully throughout this series, you'll see that, you know, this isn't rocket science. You don't have to be afraid of trying this. We have patrons that come in that have never done any of this before, and I can honestly tell you that they walk out of here with some of the most beautiful creations I have ever seen for anybody. But for novices, it turns out that they have more creation in them than they think. And so that's what I am trying to instill in people, is that this isn't hard. You don't have to be afraid of it, and just give it a try. Okay, the first thing is that I have the standard A2 card, which is 5.5 by 4.25. I know that these are die cuts with a view. I bought a box of them on clearance that had various colors. I will show you later how to cut your own cards. But if I can buy them already pre-cut and scored, I'm good. It saves time as opposed to having to cut the dimensions yourself. Okay, the first piece you'll need is a 2 1/8 by 3 3/4 inch pattern paper. I've already put glue on this, so we are going to adhere this down like this. Make sure you have your edges, or else, you know, one of the things I tell people is don't initially put a lot of glue on it. And the reason being, if you make a mistake, you start all over, or you do what I call precision surgery. I keep a paring knife in my craft room specifically for that, and that is taking projects apart when I've made errors. So try not to do that. And I've been doing this a long time, so the fact that I still have to do that says something. All right, the next thing, we are going to make this lovely pattern on the bottom. And I am going to use the Martha Stewart punch. I can't tell you the name of it. I have no idea, and I don't think it has the name on the bottom. So, but Martha Stewart has a lot of gorgeous, gorgeous punches. not just Martha, the Fiskars, there are a lot of companies that produce these, and it's about getting what you like. I had the opportunity to buy a lot of these. They were on sale for a really good price because these can be pretty pricey. And I was at a point where I could buy several at one time, and I was like a kid in a candy store trying to figure out which ones I really felt like I wanted. And it was a good thing because I limited myself to like 4, and so I had to really look over the selection and pick out the ones that I absolutely felt like I wanted. And now I don't even look at these anymore because I already have the ones I absolutely felt like I wanted and that I would use. So what you do here is you're going to punch in the center. This will be something that I'll show you how to do later. And then it gives you the pattern to line up. And you do one side, and then you go over and you do the other side. I love these things. For years I had, oopsie, I made an error. You see that? I made an error. Shame on me. So let's look into my trusty bag, and we're going to cut another one of these, which is good because now I can show you my fancy new paper cutter. I bought this on Christmas Eve. Did I need it? No, I didn't. What is that? It's 4 1/4. Okay. I have been looking for a good paper cutter for a very long time. I have probably 10, and that is not an exaggeration. And various shapes, sizes, colors. And I don't just buy the cutter, but I buy the extra blades as well. And so I have tons of paper cutters that I don't use and the extra blades. I saw this, one of the YouTubers that I like to watch was doing a video on her favorite things, and she talked about this. And I said, let me look and see if I'd like this. And this is a Fiskars SureCut with a platinum, no, not platinum, it's a titanium blade. And the beauty of this baby is that, well, look and see, you can do 12 by 12 because it has an arm that comes out. It locks so that it's not flopping around when it's in your bag. I love that. And the beauty of this is that it has a wire that will show you exactly where you're cutting, which I didn't realize was a big deal until I used this and realized that when you have paper and you can't, you know, there's a groove here for your blade, but sometimes you're not quite sure if it's cutting exactly where you want it to be. This shows you exactly where it's going to cut, and I have fallen in love with this thing. So I think this is a keeper, and my guillotine swing line, I love that one too. And I think I'll keep these two and, you know, get rid of all the rest, because, you know, those could usually, the ones that I have would work well for beginners. So I think that I probably will be getting rid of those and giving them away or donating. So anyway, let's try this again with the Martha Stewart here. Let me clean off my workspace, which, by the way, I don't do at home. So we're going to put this through in the center. Then you're going to move it over. Sometimes I think it would help to look on the back to see. Yep, right there. Look at that. Perfect. Whoops. And we're going to do this one. Yep. And perfect. Excellent. Okay. Again, clean off my workspace. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to stamp the sentiment. Oh, great. This is why you should keep your workspace clean. Okay. Now, this is Vivid. This is an dye ink pad. And I Can't tell you where I got this from. I think it was a freebie when I bought some clear stamps from a vendor at the scrapbooking convention in Kansas City. And I like the look because, you know, look at this. This is a little more subtle, but this is the vivid, and this is what I was going for in the beginning. And I don't know what brand I used before. This is fine, but this is what I was going for. But when you're using this, be careful. Actually, be careful with all of your ink pads until you get a chance to know how they work, because some of them are what I call juicy, which means they have a lot of ink. And yes, you want them to have a lot of ink so that they last a long time. But in the very beginning, it could get pretty messy. If you press down too hard, you get ink everywhere. So in this particular case, just gently press it down and make sure that it is covered everywhere on your stamp except around the perimeter, which you see that happen. Okay. And then we're just going to gently press this down. And look how gorgeous that is. I love it. Okay, next we're going to put a little bit of ribbon. I already cut the ribbon out, and basically there are no real dimensions to this. You can just go ahead and eyeball it. I cut it out beforehand. This is also Martha Stewart ribbon I got on clearance. I just know it's Martha Stewart because I was surprised at how cheap it was and said, hey, wow, I get Martha cheap. So, you know, that's how I know it's Martha. But for the most part, I just buy ribbon that I like, and sometimes I can get some for 50 cents for a spool, and that works just fine for me. Okay, next I am going to use, this is Aleene's Tacky Line Roll. I got this on clearance. I had never used it before. In fact, I just got this a couple of weeks ago, so I'm still learning how to use it. And the reason why I got this is specifically for ribbon. And right now I'm having a hard time getting this off. Yay. Okay, here we go. But it's already there and it's in a line, and I got this for ribbon because sometimes it can get pretty messy trying to get glue on ribbon. And so what you do is you cut off a piece that's already on the cellophane, however much you need, and then you're just going to put it down on the ribbon. I hope you guys can see that. And then you're gonna rub it. There you go. And then you have glue on your ribbon. And that makes things so much easier. Or you can just put this on and then tape it on the back. Sometimes I do that too, if I'm really in a hurry. Okay, maybe that was a little too much, but we're gonna work that out. Here we go. Oh, I like this already. Now, I have this already taped on, and you just cut off another piece, and you're just gonna slip it through. I'm not very good at tying bows, so this is an easy way to tie a bow without tying a bow. So you're just gonna tie that on in a knot, and look at that, that looks really nice. Okay, then I am going to cut off the ends. All right, now you take a little bit of that glue. The cool thing about this is that this stuff really peels off on other surfaces, so it doesn't damage anything. And then you're just gonna, I don't like my bows to stick up. I like for them to lie flat. And to do that, put a little bit of glue And like that. Maybe that's a little too much. Let's see. All right. There you go. Look at that. Now, on the first one I did, I used dimensionals to pop it up, and it gives it a little bit of depth. And on the second one, I didn't. And one of the things that you need to keep in mind when you are putting on embellishments and dimensionals is the fact that if you're sending it through the mail, you could have a problem. Ask me how I know that. So for this purpose, although I have the dimensionals out, I'm not going to use it. I think it's pretty regardless. So you don't need to pop it up. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and we are just going to lay that down. Now, for the last thing, we're going to, or I'm going to, put on some bling. Now, this is stuff I got at my local box store, Rhinestones, and they were in the ribbon department. I guess little girls use these for their barrettes, and they were all clear. I was needing red at one time, and they didn't have red, and I did not want to go into the city to find red, tiny red bling. So I stood there for a second, and I'm like, what can I do? So I thought I could just color these with a Sharpie. So I was home one night coloring bling with Sharpies. Yeah. Anyway, but it's a really good way to do this because I got these for like $1.49, whereas if you had already purchased them colored, you're going to pay way more for that. So for like $1.49, I got like I don't know, a couple hundred of these, and I can color them whatever I want when I feel like it. So I'm going to use, what do you think? No, I don't like that. I don't like that purple. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is use the green, because there's green in your pattern, in the pattern paper. So I'm going to use the green. Okay, that one's not going to work. That, I think that matches perfectly. And then just because I like the other green here, I'm going to use the darker green. You can use whatever you want, obviously, or you don't even have to put that on there at all, but I like that. You can put them in a diagonal. You can do it however you want. That's what we are looking for, is that we want you to be creative, and I hope that some of you who are watching this will email me photographs of your work. I love having those on hand to show people, you know, what is possible when you think you can't. One of the things too, on this one, I couldn't, you know, I thought, should I put a flower? You see, I didn't put it on there yet, just because, again, once you put it down, it's there to stay, and I wasn't quite sure. And this flower, at least, you know, when you put it in the envelope, it will flatten out a little bit, so it won't have too much bulk. But I thought about that, and then, you know, I think on certain things, simple is probably better. But again, if you're not a simple kind of person and you want to zhuzh it up the way you want to, then go right ahead. More power to you. And I sometimes go a little overboard too. And those are the ones you have to hand to the person, because otherwise it'll cost you a fortune to send it in the mail. Okay, that's it for my first video. You all have no idea what it took to get this done. Please come back and visit us again at Trails Library Videos. We hope to have new ones up on a regular basis. We hope that you learn a lot. For those of you who are our patrons, please come in and visit us. And for me, if you've watched this and you've tried this, come in and look for me. And I'm at the Warrensburg branch, and show me what you've done. I love seeing other people's work. It inspires me, and I hope that I have been able to do that for you. All right, this is Karen C. signing off, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye. Help us fulfill the requirements of our grant by letting us know if you found this video useful. This project is supported by the Institute of Museum and Library Services under the provisions of the Library Services and Technology Act as administered by the Missouri State Library, a division of the Office of the Secretary of State. Thank you for watching. This has been a production of Trails Regional Library.